On St. George's Day, today, Keir Starmer stood in Downing Street with a flag of St. George in one hand and a script in the other, telling us, the English people, what their patriotism should look like. But here's the truth. This wasn't about unity. It was about control. And it's time that we, the English, stood up to this and called it out. We don't need Labour's lessons on how to be English, especially not from the same party that has mocked and derided and denigrated our flag, the flag of St. George, for years and years. As far as I'm concerned, Keir Starmer, you can stuff your flag and your views on patriotism up your uber liberal place where the sun don't shine. Good evening. Welcome to the John Gaunt podcast. You can see I'm riled up about this. The Labour Party, for the last 20 years at least, have always criticised our flag. Mandelson, Blair, they hated it. Gordon Brown, well, he was Scottish, so he had a reason, I suppose. But they all hated it. And it goes right back. And I've got a long memory. And I'm going to bring up some of those instances where they slagged off our flag. It's okay for our brave boys to go to the Falklands, Iraq, Afghan, wherever. But they come back draped in the Union Jack. And if they're English, do they get the respect they deserve? Why is it okay for the Scottish and the Welsh and the Northern Irish to celebrate their flag, but not us English? And don't forget, we reclaimed the flag back in the Euro Championships 20-odd years ago. Where was Starmer then? He's trying to make out that he's bringing the flag back. He makes me want to vomit. I'm so angry about this. And I think you should be as well. I think it matters. And to do this on St. George's Day, it's outrageous. He wouldn't say to the Welsh on St. David's Day something highly critical about the mass population, would he? But he's got form for this. It's exactly the same as what he did with the riots in Southport, immediately labelling everybody who demonstrated, everybody, as a far-right thug. If he wanted to heal the divisions of Southport and the subsequent riots, perhaps he should have apologised today and said, I got that bit wrong. However, we can't have that kind of violence, however else he wants to couch it, but he should have apologised. He's not bringing us together. He's separating us out again, and he's using our blooming flag to do it. And it makes me very, very angry. Not just angry, but also passionate and also very emotional. I'm very, very upset, and upset that he's done it on this day. Do you share what I'm saying, or do you think I'm an idiot? And likewise, if you're Scottish or you're Welsh or you're Northern Irish, but you're still part of the UK, do you think I'm being over the top? Tell me. You're perfectly entitled to. Well, write your comment in the corner. Craig Urquhart's there, and he's just said, evening, John. Evening. Let's talk about this, shall we? What did you make of what happened today? And to make it worse, there he is, stood in Downing Street with the arch patriot. He was a good footballer for us, it's got to be said, Gary Lineker, and all the other usual suspects. It was stuffed full of the uber liberals, but it wasn't Cool Britannia. You know, when Blair got into office and Oasis were there and the rest of it. There's no Cool Britannia at the moment. He's the most hated PM we've ever had. His approval ratings are through the floor. And for the last 5 days, he's been hiding. I don't know from what. And please, none of that gossip on here. But now he comes back and he tells us how to be English. He said it was a patriotic message today, but it was a calculated political move by wrapping himself in the flag of St. George. Listen to me. Starmer is claiming the Labour Party. He actually said this. We are the true patriotic party. Labour, stop sniggering at the back. It's absolutely unbelievable. It is delusional, divisive, but he would say inclusive little club. He thinks he's in the right, and we're a bunch of hooligans who just support England, drink too much beer, and have beer bellies, and mess up and mix up what patriotism and nationalism is. Let me tell you, this was not a celebration of English identity today. It was a clear, transparent attempt to hijack English patriotism and fight off the growing threat of the main man himself, Nigel Farage, and Reform, who are gaining in the polls. It's quite clear what Starmer is up to. That's why I've done this on the flag today. You'll see that there's a Reform sort of sticker in the background. I'm trying to suggest they're coming up behind him. And he doesn't like that, right? He doesn't know what to do. And that's what else I think he is. He's a fake patriot. He's not a patriot. He's just not. And we shouldn't allow him to get away with this. If you like what I'm talking about, if you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree, let me know. And if you're watching it on repeat, you can still get in touch with me in all the usual ways. Make sure you subscribe to John Gaunt TV on YouTube. Then you'll never miss a show, and it's completely free. But if you want to help me out, why don't you donate? Donate me at buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. You can buy a beer or a coffee, or alternatively, you can do it whilst we're live here via YouTube. Kev Phillips says, thumbs up for Gaunty. Thank you, my friend. I wasn't aware English and let's say Scottish had different flags on their coffins, John. I didn't say they did. I said they're draped in the Union flag, but they have no... no, they're not. They're always in the Union flag. So I don't know what you're on about, Craig. But anyway, don't divert me. It's just annoying. Let's keep on the agenda. Sorry, I'm emotional. I'm being a bit angry. Only the king can remove Starmer from number 10. Oh, you reckon? And for the sake of the country, Charles needs to act now. Well, I agree with the second part of what you said. It was a left-wing get-together today, he says Seasider Mark on YouTube. And Kev says the local elections will be interesting. No, it'll be a whitewash, if I'm still allowed to use that term. Reform are going to tan his backside. Maybe I like that. I don't know. I'm not saying anything. He's a pariah on the arse of British patriotism. Oh, I like that. We've got a George Galloway lookalike here. Christopher Blockley. I like what you're saying, my friend. If you want to say something, please feel free. Get on the comments. We're 8 minutes in and it's going bonkers. I'm on Twitter. Or X. I'm on YouTube. It's called John Gaunt TV, and I'm on Facebook. And of course, you can always just listen to the podcast when you're walking the dog or whatever you're doing. Feel free. And if you miss anything in this, it is on podcasts. It's on Apple. It's on Spotify. It's on YouTube. You can get the audio of this anywhere you want. And if you are going to listen when you're walking, that's the best way. Don't listen to it on the YouTube TV part because it will use a lot of your data. The YouTube also do it as a podcast, but you're probably best to subscribe to Apple and get me there as well. So it was no celebration of English identity. It was a transparent attempt to hijack English patriotism and fight off the growing threat of Nigel Farage and Reform, who are gaining fast in the polls. Well, that's my view. What's yours? If you're enjoying this, by the way, please press the like button. Several of you have done that already. So let's go back to what Starmer said in number 10. It was last night, actually, but they released the film today. Disgusting. It wasn't patriotism. It was pure propaganda. Do you agree with me? Starmer says he wants to, and here's the quote, take the flag back from extremists. What does he mean by that? Is Nigel Farage an extremist? No. He's a legitimate political party, which actually is going to tan your backside, Sir Keir Starmer. Who gave away the flag in the first place? If anyone has been divisive, may I just suggest it's Starmer and Labour. Let's talk about the Southport massacre, the slaughter of 3 innocent little angels, and the damage, injuries, life-changing damages to the other 10 children and the woman who was holding the class. He smeared all the protesters that day and afterwards as far-right thugs. He also, to compound what he did, and don't forget this is a fact, this can't be disputed, he withheld details about Axel RudaKubana, the monster, the boy man whose murders triggered national outrage. I was bloody outraged. I don't know about you. I know the law, so I was circumspect in what I did, but other people didn't. But let me tell you how bad this was. Even his own counter-terrorism czar admitted that his silence, Keir Starmer's silence, and that useless Home Secretary, I wouldn't even have her as a secretary in a 60s typing pool. What's her name? You know, the one who's married to Ed Ball. She only does interviews with him because he gives her soft interviews. Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, they knew who it was. They knew he wasn't a recent arrival. They also knew he wasn't an avowed Muslim. They knew all about him within a few hours. They also knew that they'd found ricin in his house and he had been plotting a mass massacre. They also knew that he'd been on the prevent list and that 3 times, I don't know if they know this bit, but 3 times useless prevent had not prevented this monster trying to kill people. 3 times they checked on him, right? What did they do? Did they say any of this to the people? Did they go on telly that night and say, oh, hold on. Can we stop all this rioting? It's not a recent arrival. It's not necessarily a Muslim. He is young, and that complicates matters. We know who it is. We've got him in custody. There's no further threat. We think he's a lone wolf, whatever, right? And this isn't just me saying it. His counter-terrorism czar is saying it. And so is the other guy, the MP who knows so much about terrorism. It's unbelievable. They're saying that his silence didn't necessarily trigger the riots, but they didn't calm them down. And that's my point. That's my point. So why didn't he today, whilst he was wrapping himself in our beautiful flag, why didn't he say, I want to fess up, I made a mistake? Because I think if he started admitting he makes mistakes and stopped pretending he was golden balls, I expected him to be there today, but he wasn't. But there was other footballers, wasn't there? Tony Adams. That's because I think he supports Arsenal. I don't know. It was just ludicrous. Cool Britannia? No. Got a view? Want to hear from you. Seaside of Mark says, it was a left-wing get-together. Kev Phillips says the local elections will be interesting. I've read that one out already. Starmer is an NWO plant, says Williams. Don't know what your first name is. Seaside of Mark says you're talking about Yvette Cooper. Correct. The far right is 0.01%, says Kev. Last year's burning and looting had a far deeper meaning than just far right. Yes, it did. And I said that at the time. I agree with you. It was talking about massive dissatisfaction from the decent silent majority. But all he could go on about was, the best thing about the English spirit was that we came out the next day, like in the Blitz, and we tidied up that mosque and put that wall back up that the Yobs had ruined. And fair enough, that is what Britain does or England does. It is. And that was good. But he's changed the whole narrative of what happened in Southport to fit his political agenda. He annoys me. So we had children butchered at a dance class. The country is not happy, says Kev on YouTube. Do you want to comment? Plenty of room for you to talk to me tonight. Please put your comment in the comment box and I'll come to you. And now we're going to have a wee history lesson with Gaunty because I don't want you to forget ever Emily Thornberry. Do you remember her? Back in 2014, she was a top Labour MP. She mocked one of the houses. It was a flat I can still see the flat. It was like a modern white flat, which was displaying the English flag. You know, like people do. I don't like it, but people put the flag out their bedroom window, close the window and show that who they're supporting. On one level, it's quite nice. During the World Cup, you get the flags of all the different nations, don't you? In multi-ethnic, diverse Britain, which is good. I haven't got a problem with it. She mocked this guy because the guy also had a white van. He was white van man. Now, as far as I'm concerned, and this is a cliche, but it's also a cliche because it's true, he was the backbone, one of the backbones of this great country. And by that, I mean the whole of the United Kingdom. But the guy, they might have been a woman, I don't know, it was a guy, I remember it all being in the sun. He was a patriot. He wanted to show his support in England. She made out that this was wrong. She sneered at him. She made some awful, I think it was a tweet or it might have been a Facebook post, and she got slaughtered by the great people of this country. And rightly so. So what happened? I'll tell you what happened. She had to stand down from her cabinet position. She was the shadow attorney general. So the big extra bunch she got, she lost. But guess what's happened recently? You might think, well, where is she now? Where's that stupid woman who didn't like our flag? Why aren't they putting her up as a spokesperson? Well, she's in the House of Lords. She was told, you're not going to get a cabinet position under Keir Starmer, because right up to the election, she was around. She was a front bench spokesperson. Then they decided we ain't having her. Guess where they put her? The House of Lords. Where do they put everybody who's useless? The House of Lords. All political parties do this. Absolutely disgraceful. But nothing has changed in Labour. Thank you. Lots of people clicking to say they're enjoying the show. That's really brilliant. It helps the algorithm and it helps me get more viewers. So thank you for doing that. And don't forget, you can even do that after the show if you're watching on replay or if you're listening on a podcast. No one's donated via YouTube yet, but if you fancy giving me a gift, feel free. So here we go. Emily Thornberry. Look at the way they treat us. Let's remember Mandelson and Blair. They wanted to rub our nose in diversity. They went around the world looking for people who they could get into this country to upset largely the white working class, forgetting, of course, that many black and Asian Brits, English people, support England as well. I was only saying to Lisa today how much football has changed. When you go to football now, I remember the bad old days at Highfield Road even, when people used to chuck bananas at black players. That's all gone, and rightly so. And there should be no racism in football at all. I think you should be able to swear at them and tell them they're a donkey, but you shouldn't be allowed to pick on them because of the colour of the skin. But at every opportunity, the mainstream media just like to put forward that narrative, like they did when they missed the penalties. They were the ones who made the point it was all the black players, and then they made up some fuss that lots of white English people had been slagging them off because they're black. That didn't happen like that. I think most people are extremely non-racist now. But morons like him there, he wants to stir up trouble. Today, he was, what's that word they used? Triggering. That's what he was doing again today. To anybody who believes in our flag, anybody who believes in our country, he was basically saying, that's what he was doing. I can take this flag. And then he had that, did you see he had that rail of England shirts? Were they all meant to be his? As if he was a real football fan. I don't know. But he was showing Tony Adams them. And then he showed Gary Lineker. Talking of Gary Lineker, what was that interview that he did all about? Huh? Isn't he marvellous? Don't you just wish he was a stick of rock and you could lick him? Don't you really wish he was chocolate? Mind you, he'd eat his own head if he was, wouldn't he? Gary Lineker, what a lovely bloke. I won't take away the fact he was a good footballer for us. Not a brilliant footballer, but a good footballer. But that interview where he basically slagged off the BBC. He thinks he's Jesus Christ come to save us all. Anyway, you were an okay footballer, Gary. You're not bad on Match of the Day. You were terrible when you started, but you're not bad now. But I'm sure we can get a cheaper alternative and somebody who doesn't compare the Holocaust to what's happening in Gaza like a sixth form Burke. Anyway, enough of him. Let's get back to this today, please. Let me just say this. In my opinion, of course it's my opinion, it's my show, the flag of St. George is not a symbol of hate or division. Are you listening, Sir Keir Starmer? It's a symbol of the English, largely the English working class. What would call, well, he doesn't call it class, does he? The working man, the working people. Huh? But it's the working class, Sir Keir. Football is our game, not your game. And I know you like to make out your working class. Your dad owned a bloody factory. He wasn't just a tool maker, although he made a pretty good tool with you, didn't he, my friend? It's a symbol of the English working class, the flag of St. George. It's a symbol of tradition. It's a symbol of great pride. However, in Starmer's politically correct, divided version of England, and indeed you can extend this out to the whole of the United Kingdom and to Britain, even the definition of a woman is up for debate. How can we take a man seriously when he says, I want to talk to you about the flag, I want to give you flag lessons, but he doesn't even know what a woman is? He only now knows what a woman is, which is somebody who was born biologically as a woman, has a cervix, has a vagina, and not a penis. Only now, I'm sorry to use those terms, but they are the correct terms. Only now does he say that that's the definition of woman. But he couches it by saying that's because of the Supreme Court. Don't we need a leader that knows his own mind or her own mind, like Mrs. Thatcher? And I must just say today, well done to Kemi. I thought Kemi was useless most weeks at Prime Minister's Questions. Today, she slaughtered him when she said, you haven't got any balls. You would just say things to please people. It's true. It's true. And that's why I don't think he can last. There's a storm brewing. Oh, by the way, somebody today on YouTube put a comment up saying, I can't stand the way he rolls his R's. Bye. Don't need you, mate. If you don't like it, off. But you'll be doing it yourself by the end of the week. Anyway, I love it. I love some of the criticism. You know, we talk about real big political points, and somebody wants to say, oh, I don't really like the way he says, you know, go away. Go away. Lisa, 87. Good to have your voice, Lisa. He wants our flag to represent diversity. Yes, he does. If we put a rainbow in it, he'd probably love it, wouldn't he? Huh? And that's the other problem. All the big institutions have been captured by the rainbow warriors. I'm not talking about Greenpeace. I'm talking about all these people who believe this new way is the way, even though it's against what the majority want. Listen, I'm not anti-trans, not at all. If that's how you want to be, fine. But I don't want it to be a position where we change everything. Like, you can't have women-only spaces. Women fought for the vote. They fought to be equal. Equal. Now men who want to wear a frock, fine, on you go. I don't agree with what's going on. I do agree with the Supreme Court. Do you know what? Excuse me. Do you know what, though? I don't think Starmer does. That's why he's being careful what he says. And that's why he's got people like Chris Bryan, MP, yeah, who went on to Grindr, the gay website, in his underpants, nothing else, saying he was as horny as a word I don't want to use on my podcast, who is now trying to be some moral arbiter, telling us that we're morons and animals if we don't agree with mixed toilets or men in a dress going into a lady's changing room. Well, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. And I would hazard a guess the majority of people would agree with me, not with you, Mr. Bryant. So shove that up your Rhondda, because he's from the Rhondda Valley. I mean, it's just, you couldn't make most of this up. You couldn't. We've got an MP who can't make up his mind what he is, where he stands. When he was asked by Nick Ferrari, brilliant interview, by the way, you know, what about this? What about that? And also by Andrew Marr, not a brilliant interview. But anyway, he didn't know what to say. He looked like a clown. He is a clown. Right, let's go on. Is the perception of the English flag as an extremist crowd? Yes. Matt, I'd love to see us all flying our flag outside our homes, just like many US citizens do. I agree. 6 months after 9/11, I went to New York with BBC London. because there's so many links between London and New York. It was fascinating. Went to New Jersey, you know, where The Sopranos was based and filmed. Every porch, and I mean every porch, had the star and stripes flying. I believe that's how it should be in this country. Every public building should have the flag of St. George, if it's in England. Scotland, obviously, their flag. And then sometimes the Union flag, right? That's what I believe. I don't think we should ever be flying the rainbow flag to show that we're so diverse. We've got gay firefighters. Just a joke. Just our national flag. We should have our national flag. I would have the flag of St. George and the Union flag in the corner of every single classroom in every single school. And I would say you should be proud to be English and then proud to be British. That's what you should be. And we've got to rebuild that pride, because that's what's going to make Britain great again. I heard some idiot today on GB News, Nigel. Quite like the guy, but what a load of nonsense he came out with. He didn't want to say, and they were talking about being English. He started talking about being British. Hold on a minute, mate. We're talking about being English. Don't you know the difference? Imagine saying to a Scottish person, we don't want you to be so proud of your flag. It'd be Bannockburn all over again. They'd be painting their faces blue and putting on the kilt and doing a Mel Gibson impression, and rightly so. They're proud of their culture. They're proud of their country. And I think most English people are as well. Let's move on. Danny says, I am proud. Thank you. What the F? Comments are being deleted. Lisa, no, they're not. Not by me. Not by me, Lisa. I've not deleted anything. So write back again what you said now, please, and I'll tell you whether I agree with it and whether I'll read it out or not. But I'm having no censorship on this channel. If you say a few words that are against YouTube standards, because you're on YouTube, they might delete it. So just moderate your language and say it again so you get over your point, and we'll see if it comes up. But there's no moderator from my side on this show. I'm naked. Oh, sorry, girls. I'm naked and lads. I'm naked and alone. I do this. I tell you what, there could be a nightmare later because I'm looking after the dog. Rosie's come up and she brought the dog with her because they've all gone off to see that. What's his name? The black fellow who wears the hat. Jazz singer. Brilliant guy. I was watching him earlier on the telly. Well, the wife, the mother-in-law, and my daughter, one of my daughters, have gone to watch him today. You know the guy I'm talking about? Black fella, American. Great singer. Where's that funny hat? I don't know whether he had his ears chopped off or something. I don't know why he always wears the hat. What a beautiful voice. Do you know what I'm talking about? Help me out. Tell me. They want to provoke civil war. That's the uni party goal, says Jamie Holden. Don't know about that, but thank you for your comment. Oh, yeah. So Lisa, 87. Is this what you said, Lisa? Is this what you think wasn't going to come up? Maybe you just got to be a bit more patient. But here's one of your comments. You aren't trans anyway, unless you have your bits removed, and most of them still have theirs. Well, I don't know what the statistic is about that, Lisa, but if that was your comment you made, I'd probably agree with you there. I don't understand how it can be you're not a woman or a man until you've either got the bit or you haven't got. I've never understood that, but maybe that's because we're thick. I don't know, Lisa. She put up a load of English flags now. That's good. No meat and veg allowed in women's spaces, says Kev Phillips on YouTube. Craig Urquhart says freedom in capitals. Lisa 87's put up some more faces now. Gregory Porter. If I had any money for prizes, Stephen Bessick, you'd get a prize for that. That's right, Gregory Porter. That guy is fantastic. He's just brilliant. And I'd never really listened to his lyrics before. And he was on him. Jules Holland was with him. I was watching this program. I don't know what it was on YouTube, probably. I don't know, or iTunes or whatever. It's fascinating background he's got. And what a talent. What an immense talent. So they're going there tonight. It's a sellout. I think it's in Birmingham, isn't it? At the Symphony Hall. No doubt have a great time. I'm going to take the dog for a walk, although it looks like it's going to rain again. What was happening last night? It was like a monsoon, wasn't it? Now, I was hoping it was raining in Downing Street. What we got next? Jackie Ward. I used to be proud to be English, but these days I feel embarrassed as I feel we're the laughing stock of the world. What a state this country has become. Thank you for your comment. But be proud. Be proud. Craig Urquhart says, is it Rag and Bone Man? No, last time I looked, he's not black. He's the huge fat guy, isn't he? Brilliant singer as well. No, we've got the answer to that already. It's Gregory Porter. Thank you very much indeed. So, we've got a Prime Minister who thinks he needs to tell us about our flag. We've got a Prime Minister who doesn't know what the definition of a woman is until the court tells him. So do we really need flag lessons from the Labour Party? And don't get me wrong, I think the Tories were probably just as bad, although Kemi's trying to bring it back. I wish I look, but I doubt it. But this is all about Nigel Farage and reform. He has got them on the run, just like he got Europe on the run. Who do you think you are kidding, Mr. or Mrs. Van Leyen? If you think we're on the run, dun, 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 dun. We are the boys who will stop your little game, Mr. Starmer. We are the boys who will make you think again, because we're reform. I've given him an advert idea there, but it's true. Starmer is petrified, because if reform do well in those local elections, especially after he's gerrymandered it, don't forget he's cancelled loads of the elections in areas where he knew he was going to get his bottom smacked. So, what's he up to? So, if Farage just come out victorious, which I think he will do, it will be the beginning of the end for Starmer. And Starmer, the hypocrite, wrapping himself in our flag, when we all know he probably wears European Union flagged themed pants. Probably paid for by Lord Ali, like the rest of his clothes, or a lot of his clothes are. He's probably got designer briefs with the EU flag. I'm joking. This is satire. I don't mean it. Don't sue me, Mr. Starr. Well, sue me if you want. I've got no money, so you just waste your cash. But it's a joke. He doesn't believe in England. He doesn't believe in our flag. He doesn't believe even in the United Kingdom. He wants to be the boss of Europe, just like Blair always wanted that. That's the game. Can't you see it? Problem is, until reform get themselves right together, we haven't got a proper opposition to stop this nonsense. But he's obviously frit, as Mrs. Thatcher would say. He is completely frit by Farage. That's what the party was about last night. That's what this sudden patriotism's about. This is why he thinks he can tell us. But you see, he's got it wrong. Like I keep saying, he has got the Midas touch in reverse. Last night could have been a triumph for him. All he had to do was show a bit of humility and apologize. But he doesn't do humility. He just does sheer, absolute arrogance and BS. So we don't need flag lessons from the Labour Party. We need honesty. We need unity, and we need leadership that respects, shall I even say, go so far as to say, not just respect, but loves and cherishes our national values. We do not need any more empty gestures. So if you think the English flag belongs to the people of England, not the politicians, can you make sure you press the like button now? Go on, press it. Go on. Can you drop a comment here or retweet this if you're watching it on repeat or if you're listening to the podcast? Well, retweet the links. Get people to know what I'm talking about. I haven't heard this anywhere else today. Nobody else is connecting up the dots, but Gaunty is. And in a few months' time, when this show is huge, you can say, I was there at the beginning when he was dog sitting in the kitchen of his daughter's house, or when he had the dog round here and he knocks over all the lights. I remember him before he even had a green screen. Come on. The radio, oh dear, don't do that, John. The radio revolution is happening. Some people don't like the R's, but they can shove that up their own arse, if you know what I mean. You got to drop a comment. You got to share. You got to, let's all push back on this political theatre, because that's what it is. And let's demand that we get our country back. And that isn't a country just for white people. It can be for everybody. Because we are a glorious country with a glorious past. Don't forget, it's Shakespeare's birthday today. The greatest writer in the English language. What a man. And he's not the only one. Look at our poets. Look at our dramatists. Look at our actors. Look at our filmmaking. Look at our... Next to the USA, we're the best at making music. Why? Because we're talented. Everybody from Stormzy back through to the Beatles and the Stones. We are brilliant. And now I'm talking about the whole of Britain, obviously. But you're with me. And England is part of that. And England is a brilliant country. And I'm not going to allow people like Starmer to steal our flag. Starmer needs to prove to us that he cares about our country and its citizens. So far, we're at the back of the queue every time. Danny says he wears rainbow pants. I don't know about that, mate. We're being invaded and they're being let in. Oh, come on. Let's be a bit more intelligent. But fair enough. And Craig, I don't really understand your comment. That's ridiculous. Right, that's me finished. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have and you want to donate to help me keep these going and expand them, please do that. Very simple. Go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. You can find the link on all of my socials and indeed on YouTube. And donate anything from £5 upwards. Most people buy 3, but if you want to buy 1, that's fine. Some people have bought 10. Unbelievable. But you can also donate via YouTube if you want to do that as well. But the most powerful thing you can do, I see you've been pressing the like button, thank you for that, is to retweet this and tell other people that I'm doing it. Because I haven't heard anybody else doing this kind of show. That's because it's rubbish. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Glyn Collis, you're the last comment today. Gaunty, over the decades, men and women have died defending England and the flag. I'm English. Full stop. Glyn, I agree with you completely. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Tell all your mates they can watch it any time of day or night, whatever suits them. You've been watching the John Gaunt podcast, only available on YouTube, all the podcast centers, Apple and all of those, Spotify, but also on Facebook and on Twitter. I'll be back tomorrow night at 6:30. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug, and don't forget to tell them to be proud to be English and tell them as well that you love them. See ya.